Do you remember the triangle we viewed earlier on? It described the foundational model of the real estate investor. The boundaries of that triangle included criteria, terms, and network. And do you remember the progressive path to becoming a real estate investor within that triangle? The first stage of that path was thinking a million. This stage involves getting over your myth understandings, your fear and your hesitation, and beginning to think like a millionaire real estate investor. One of the things that we discovered with our interviews of millionaire real estate investors was the way they thought about money, specifically their motivation for seeking financial wealth, and also their understanding on how wealth is obtained. If you can grasp the fundamental principles of how to build, hold, and employ wealth, you have achieved the first stage and the first goal of our seminar. Listed here are the 7 ways millionaire real estate investors think, their thought patterns, that which consumes their mind. The first is the big why. The second is big goals, big models, and big habits. Number 3, money does matter. 4, their net worth. 5, real estate. 6, value, opportunity, and deal. They think action. The big why, and what is it? Well, it's the compelling personal reason to achieve success. What is your personal big why? Freedom to travel the world, the ability to pass on financial wealth to your children and grandchildren, to be prepared for retirement? Only you can know this. I'm sure you'll agree with me that life is too big to think small. Millionaire real estate investors seek out big models to attain their big goals, and over time, they enjoy the gift of big habits to drive them toward their financial destiny. And when you are powered by a big why, there is very little that can hold you back. Always think that money matters. Make financial education a top priority. As important as money is in our daily lives, and as powerful as the concept of financial wealth building is, it is amazing how the education of money has fallen through the cracks. Are you an investor where your financial wealth is built on capital and cash flow, and where ultimately your money is working for you? Or do you have shadow wealth, the dark part of the model, where you have the appearance of wealth? Shadow wealth is based largely on consumption and cash rather than capital. You work for the money instead of having the money work for you, and the majority of your money is spent on consumption, with very little cash flow and capital. You may know someone with shadow wealth. They may own an expensive car and have nice clothes, but they live in an apartment, for example. They have little in the way of tangible assets. What is important to take away from this is that investors build their financial life on capital, and it is the capital that builds their cash flow and cash. On the other hand, consumers build their financial life on consumption, have very little cash flow and very little capital to pay for their consumption, so they have to continually work for their money to pay for their consumption. They have a job, J-O-B. They're just over broke. Real estate, a most able investment. While it is best to have a diversified investment portfolio, I want to draw your attention to real estate as a legitimate resource within your portfolio. Research and experience has shown that no other investment has had a consistent and powerful effect on the average person's net worth as real estate ownership. First, real estate is accessible. It is easy to understand, easy to find, and easy to finance. There are real estate financing options for every type of property and almost every type of buyer. There are no major financial barriers to entry. Second, real estate is appreciable. It increases in value over time. Due to general inflation and influence of supply and demand as the population increases, so does the demand of housing. Real estate is leverageable. Practically no one pays all cash for a home or real estate investment. Almost everyone finances it through a mortgage. Investors get the benefit of the appreciation of the full value of the property while having only to invest a relatively small portion, a down payment for example. Real estate is rentable. You can purchase a property and rent it to someone else. Your renters are, in essence, paying down your mortgage. which builds your equity in the property. If you buy it right, you can get additional unearned income in the form of positive cash flow. Real estate is improvable. You can improve the value of property with some tools and some elbow grease, either your own or someone else's. The right improvements can significantly increase the value and your equity in the property. Real estate is deductible, depreciable, and deferrable. The government wants you to own real estate and gives you many great tax benefits to encourage real estate investments. Real estate is stable. Unlike stocks, where there is not much you can do to affect its price, real estate is slow to rise and fall. It doesn't surprise you and it doesn't shock you. Finally, real estate is livable. It is the only investment vehicle that could put a roof over your head while at the same time being a great place for you to start investing. You can buy it, fix it up, rent it out, and buy again. So for all the reasons that we discussed here, I hope that you can see how real estate is a very lucrative and powerful vehicle for investing. The millionaire real estate investors that we interviewed revealed that their thinking followed a process. You have to know the values in order to recognize the opportunities, and you have to find the opportunities before you can do the deals. Successful real estate investing begins with identifying value by looking at real estate, a lot of it. The more properties you look at, the more and more accurate your sense of value becomes until it is internalized. This way, when you discover an available property, you'll be able to quickly determine what price will make that property worth pursuing. This is where the opportunity shows up. But remember, only if the opportunity meets your criteria and the seller agrees to meet your terms does it become a deal. There are basically 4 types of would-be investors. The collector is defined as someone who loves owning and buys something to own, but not necessarily the right things. The observer, on the other hand, loves ideas, but doesn't take action. He does nothing. The speculator loves the action of negotiating and buying, but he buys anything. The investor loves the opportunity, understands the opportunity, and makes the right choices to buy the right things. In the course of our research, Keller and his team spoke to hundreds of would-be investors. Some were moving toward their goals, and others were still learning the game. It became very clear that those who had become the most successful investors had, at some point, made a crucial decision. They decided to take action. They said to themselves, "I know enough to know I'm headed in the right direction. I need to get started and then keep learning as I go." Investors follow a straight and narrow path to action. Straight in that they move from knowledge to action, and narrow in that they minimize risk and maximize returns.